right. Good morning, everybody. Getting these last second invites in. Football Talk with Russell Wayne. Every weekday morning at 11 a.m. Wednesday, we are going to start dedicating to our Detroit Lions. So if you're a fan of one of the other fan bases, go ahead and feel free to complain in the comments so we can not care. All right. I just shared it to my story and to my page. If you're listening, can you share this broadcast on Hump Day? All the Lions fans in the house.
A little bit of Mr. Rogers flavor in that comment.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Yep.
Hi, friends.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Michigan.
Beautiful day in this beauty wood. A beautiful day for a beauty.
Woo!
We're going to buy the kneecap off. We're gonna buy the kneecap off. We're gonna buy the kneecap off.
Playoffs. Playoffs. Playoffs.
Rap the rap.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Fred. Fred was the first one on here. It's a great day to be a Lion. We're changing it up. I know Bear Down Mike ain't gonna like this one from today, but we got to do it. Put what team you're representing. It should be Lions fans after today on Wednesdays. Good morning, Jordan. Good morning, Kimberly. Good morning, Jeff Addison. Rashnish. There we go.
Rashnish back in the house.
Yeah. Boom. Welcome one, welcome all. It is Wednesday right here. Football Talk with Russell Wayne, and we are changing things up for Wednesdays because I was trying to figure out what we were going to do with Wednesdays because, you know, special days, but I realized, and some of my Lions fan friends reminded me, it's like, wow, you do all this talk about NFC North all the time. You don't even do a Lions show. And I was like, you're right. We don't do a Lions show. So that is now going to be Wednesdays every week now. On Hump Day, we're going to talk about our Detroit Lions. And I know that Robert and got some Packer fans, some Viking fans that are out there. Feel free to bash on us the entire program. We don't really care, but we do need to dedicate a show to our team, and that's what we're going to do. We are broadcasting live into Mike the Bear fans page right now, so I did want to put that spoiler alert out there and give you guys a caveat so you guys can tune us out if that's what you want to do. Right there, we're broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions news right there, and we thank the Detroit Lions news and Darcy for sending us to the Detroit Lions versus the Denver Broncos game. And main event Mike and I are going to that game thanks to Detroit Lions news and Detroit Darcy. So thank you very much for that. And Detroit Lions Villain Squad, we just crossed over 9,000 followers, and we are fastly approaching 10,000 followers. We appreciate every one of you villains that are out there. We've taken all this crap for years and years and years, and we're happy to finally have a good Detroit Lions team. Will it last? That's what we're going to talk about today with my friend and compadre, Main Event Mike. How you doing, brother?
I'm so good, Ross. It's a great day to be a Lion, like our viewer said.
It is a great day to be a Lion. And the Lions got a big game coming up. I mean, they had a bye week, gotten all of our players active. We're practicing this week. I mean, minus the obvious ones that were for the season, with like CJ, GJ, but all the other guys, all of our offensive linemen, David Montgomery, a fully loaded backfield and everything. It's like, how does that make you feel going fully healthy out of the bye week?
It makes me feel great. And of course, going out to the West Coast has never been good for the Lions. It's historically been bad. But this Chargers team is underachieving. I think the Lions can sneak up and get one. You and I both penciled it in as a loss at the beginning of the season because of the struggles that we've had in the past on the West Coast. But I mean, sure, the Chargers are winning their games, but they're not rolling over bad teams the way they should. It's going to be really, really interesting. The Lions can go to 7-2 with a road win on the West Coast. That would be incredible.
Yeah, that would be incredible. And this is one of those monkeys, so to speak, that they got to get off of their back, right? You know, them being 3-1 on the road this year, you would think that there would be a little more confident going on the road, because people love to bring in past that has nothing to do with this regime right here and what they're doing presently. And it would be a good stigma to get off of the back of Lion fan, because, oh, we don't win on the road. We don't do, we don't do this. We don't do that. This is the team that they should beat. This is the team that's underachieving. And I feel like the Lions are, their team is coming out of the bye looking to hit their stride. They got some playmakers like Jahmyr Gibbs that are breaking out. Brian Branch, these younger players are starting to, understand the flow and the feel of the game. This team could be ascending even more. The Lions haven't even played their best football yet. So what do you think out there, folks? We got this game going out to the West Coast. Main Event Mike's right. Notoriously, they go out there and they get blown out when they go out to the West Coast. It isn't even like a game when they go out there, right? If I remember correctly, they go out there, they get blown out by Seattle, but these are past, way far enough in the past that this team shouldn't even worry about that type of stuff, but go take care of business. But what do you think? In the comments, let us know.
Man, well, how about this comment from Rick? Thank you, Rick. YouTube subscriber 575 and 576. You have no idea how much we appreciate that. Thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to build that up. We got an arch enemy who's ahead of us. We're trying to get ahead of him. So get on YouTube, Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're not already following us on Facebook, it's Detroit Lions Villain Squad. And we bring this content to you 6 days a week, 5 days a week, 6 shows. Soon
That's
to be
right.
more.
That's right. And that arch enemy does have a name, and we will name him. It is 1,000 subscribers. We need to conquer that arch enemy so that we can be one of the big boys. We want to be one of the big boys, right? We want to be out there and doing that thing. So I'm actually putting right now, I'm going to the YouTube channel and on the front page, which I didn't do, which I usually do, is I got to put what we're doing right here, Hump Day, talking Detroit Lions right up on the front. And there it is right there. So president accounted for. We love you, Jeff. He is one of our admins or the moderators in the Detroit Lions main event, one of the groups that we keep all of the spam out. We're keeping all of the crap out of there. It is 100% just Lions talk. Some funny memes being put up in there. Rosh Bear fan up in the house. What is going on?
Morning,
I'll give you a bear. There you go. Bear down for all the bear down people. Robert, good morning, bitches. FYT, go Pack, go.
A Robert sighting.
That's right. They pulled him out of witness protection.
Well, that's right. The Packers won last week.
They won. Dwayne Keene, let's go Detroit Lions. Right there. Let's see. Campbell Presser is right now. That's probably why we don't have any viewers right now that are caring about the Lions. Yeah, right there. Oh, there we go. They'll be watching that, but they'll jump on and tell us what it's about. I will watch the presser soon as we're done doing this show. But we wanted to talk about the Lions today. We wanted to talk about them going out to the West Coast, trying to become 7-2. I don't remember the last time the Lions were 7-2. Mike, do you remember?
Might have been 72.
Might have been 72.
Well, one thing's for sure. The Lions aren't going to lay down the way the New York Jets did on Monday against the Chargers. Chargers able to record 8 sacks on Zach Wilson. I promise you that's not going to happen to Jared Goff no matter where they're playing. Justin Herbert only throws for 136 yards. As a team, they only run for 84 yards, and they win 27-6. I think that's more about the team they were playing than what the Chargers were doing. And it's not going to be that easy against this Detroit Lions team, as you said, fully healthy. All right. 53 men on the active roster are practicing currently, and that's amazing in week 9. It's a testament to the strength and conditioning team that they brought in over the last couple of years. It's really regarded as one of the best in the league now.
Yeah, and I wanted to hit this question right here. What do you think that they play both Montgomery and Gibbs at least 6 times together this game against the Chargers? Having them both out there at the same time, I mean, that's been kind of a dream since they brought in the weapon. That was our defense mechanism against drafting a running back in the first round, was he's a weapon. And if he is a weapon, why not throw Jahmyr Gibbs in the slot with David Montgomery in the backfield, Mike?
He was the best pass-catching halfback in the nation last year, and they've been threatening it, for 15 weeks now. They've been threatening that he's a weapon. We're going to put him in the passing game. And then Montgomery goes down. He's got to take a bigger workload in the run game. I think this is coming out of the bye. We're now going to see what they've been threatening. I think we're going to see Jahmyr Gibbs out there on nearly every snap in some capacity. The kid blew it up last week. Or 2 weeks ago, I should say. Right. And now David Montgomery, he's been a stud. This offensive line is the heart and soul of this team and our real strength. And I'm really excited for the second half of this season, Russ. Our schedule's favorable. It's going to be outstanding. And if you're going to be going to the Denver Broncos game, shoot us a message, man. We'll come over and drink your beer.
Yeah, we like that. We love our Detroit Lions, and we know how hard the tickets are to come by nowadays, since all the fair weather fans that probably have more money than us are going to buy up all the tickets right there. Good morning, Tina. It is good to see a Tina sighting in there.
Welcome back from vacation, Tina. Happy belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday. And Kimberly, we got this. We got a different team now.
Darn right.
And that's what it feels like. We got a young team.
What a great comment that is, Kimberly. Thank you.
You like that? So Rick says that's not SOL. This is not SOL. That was SOL. This is not SOL.
And I think these folks are responding to me calling out how we always play shitty on the West Coast. So yeah, I love that call out. I hope it is a change of direction for this team.
Right. Good morning,
Grampy.
Yeah. Good
That's
morning,
me,
Grampy.
talking to me.
Yeah. I don't know if it's my service, but YouTube a lot smoother than Facebook. That's why we've been trying to send people over there because for one, YouTube is more friendly just for live video to begin with. So we like that. But if you want to watch it on the Villain Squad, that's fine too, because we love having the villains on here. And this page is doing so well that we want to be able to create something over the next few weeks that we will be dropping with the supervillain, your opportunity to do some pretty cool stuff with us. I'm not going to give the whole thing up right now because we're still working out the details for it, but we want to be able to have some experiences with some of our fellow villains, our super villains, the ones that have put up with the crap for years and years and years. Like Rick enjoyed our discussion so much yesterday that I subbed both of my phone and my account to my home account, and this is the one I will be using the most. Wi-Fi wasn't working yesterday. All right,
it's not your service. YouTube just supports live video better than Facebook.
A-Dub says, good morning, everyone. This is the best. A-Dub is the best Packers fan that there is out there. I know that we are now dedicating Wednesdays. May take a little bit. Our hump days right in the middle of the week. I just came to the realization yesterday. I was talking to Mike. I'm like, we do all of these NFC North shows and we talk about all these other teams and everything. And we're Lions fans. And we did not even have one of our 6 shows dedicated to our Detroit Lions. So that is what Wednesday is going to become in here. Football talk with Russell Wayne, one day a week. We're talking all Lions, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing today. So Fred says, is Monty 100%? I thought bruised ribs was a little more than a few weeks. They said that he's, I don't know if he's 100%, but ribs are a hard thing. I don't think that you ever, I think that's just something that after a while you do got to play through some of that, because I don't think that he would be completely healed of that even now till the end of the season, right? That's going to take a while to get through.
Bruised ribs, I've had them. I know you've probably had them, right? Hurts to laugh, hurts to cough. And David Montgomery runs aggressively, runs violently, and he always falls forward. He very rarely takes a negative run. So I think that that's a great call out, Fred. He needs, I think we need to take it easy. And I've been hearing too, that it's not just bruised ribs. It's actually the cartilage in the ribs. So that's something I'm not familiar with. I don't know, the extent of the injury. I don't think any of us do. So we will find out. We do know he's going to play on Sunday.
Well, I know that you thought that bruised ribs were more than a few weeks, but all the reports that I said was it was a 1 to 2 week injury that they were going to try to let him, take a couple of weeks. They gave him 2 weeks off, and then the bye week, that's 3 weeks going into this. So, I think it is enough. You may have thought, I don't know, maybe bruised ribs does take a little bit longer than that, but that's what the report said was like 1 to 2 weeks, and they gave him 3.
I actually heard one report that said Monty could have went last week. He could have went against the Raiders, but they opted not to.
Right.
Probably because the Raiders are trash.
So that should make you feel a little bit better right there too, because he could have went last week. Rick says exactly what I was talking about. West Coast games right there. Bear Down Mike says, I can't believe the Bears played better than the Jets did against the Chargers. Is Badgett better than Wilson?
Yes.
If you want to brag about that, that's cool. Yeah. The MILF Hunter has not really proven to do anything other than hunt MILFs.
Zach Wilson looked terrible. I went back and watched some of the game cast and the highlights, and man, he looked terrible. Even on the opening drive of the game, he's making the wrong reads, like a funnel play where they're funneling all the receivers in. He's got a guy wide open in the right. Instead, he lays Garrett Wilson out to get hammered on the funnel play. That's not where you go with the ball on that play. and he just was zeroed in. It was bad. I mean, the guy's second overall pick, he's going to be a bust. I don't even think anybody's going to want this guy as a backup quarterback next year.
It's my quarterback.
Well, and that's understandable. They just spent, a second round pick to bring in a 40-year-old quarterback. That's how much they believe in Zach Wilson. Jeffrey Addison, what's up, buddy? Goff is going home this weekend. He will be very comfortable. Yeah, he's got a lot of family out there. That's what he said in his interview. So
that's good. He's played in LA for a long, long time. So he's played right. He's going home. That's a great call. It's something I didn't even think about.
Right. And wasn't it the LA Rams? Didn't he even play home games in that stadium?
I don't think SoFi was built then, was it? Maybe the last year he was there would have been the first year of SoFi.
Okay. I didn't know it was that new. Dang. It was on YouTube yesterday too, just on the other account, AKA Grit. Okay, that's who Rick is Grit. Great conversation we had yesterday. Afterwards, this was on the after cap right there, just playing the music. The encores. I like hitting a little bit after. We have our straight from 11 to 12 thing we got going on, and today it's going to be 11:50. But because I got to get the boy off the bus, and this is one of those days right there. But afterwards, every once in a while, we pop back on. So it was kind of like we like it like Marvel movies, right? You wait till all the credits are all the way done, and all of a sudden, there's Thanos going, "Raw, this is what will happen in the next movie." Dun 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 dun. But I kind of like doing that. John Kapler, what's up? The bad guy.
It's our boy.
Right
Take a look at the bad guy.
What will be the hardest part about Sunday's game? Game for the Lions.
Sunday's game for the Lions.
Games for the Lions. So if I was like Christopher Walken, I could have read that like it's like, what will be the hardest part of Sunday's game for the Lions?
I think the hardest part of the game for the Lions will be, obviously they're talented wide receivers and Justin Herbert. I mean, Justin Herbert's a beast of a quarterback, even though he has an overall losing record as a starter. I think Dan Campbell can outcoach Brandon Staley. They've got some good pieces on defense. Of course, we all know the names Bosa, Mack, Derwin James. That's the three standouts they have on receiver. But I think there's going to be a lot of Lions fans in the stands. But I think that's going to be the hardest part is slowing down their passing attack is going to be hard.
That is true. That is true. LA has like 0 fans for the Chargers. Even when they're good, they can't even fill the stands. The Lions are going to take that whole stadium over. It's going to be all blue in there, but it's going to be all Honolulu blue because the Chargers are underperforming. Yes, we know the names they have on that team. Khalil Mack, all the great defensive players, just the great Justin Herberts. Yeah, they should be at the top of the AFC right now, and they're not. Why? Because their coaching sucks. And Dan Campbell will be able to outcoach him and be aggressive and go out there. That's what I'm hoping. I'm projecting. This is all good things right here. But I think that will be the hardest part for Sunday will be overcoming that. Because here's the thing, is they do have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. And those guys are really, really good. And if they choose Sunday at 425 to all of a sudden put all that together, they do have the talent to beat the Lions. They have the talent to beat any team. So if you're out there as a Lion, and I'm a fan. I think they're going to win. I will predict them to win, but it still puts that feeling in that pit of your stomach right there because this team is good. This is not some team that we're facing that has like all these guys out or all these different things. Their players are there. They just haven't put it together yet. Mm-hmm. On paper, they should be destroying people. Mm-hmm. Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, like Keenan Allen. They did lose Mike Williams. They lost their deep threat, but they're loaded on offensive play weapons.
Rookie Quentin Johnson, 6'4", Austin Eckler getting it going the last few weeks, showing why he's, one of the top backs in the league. And back to my point, I said, stopping that passing game is going to be tough, but key to that, I believe, is going to be pass rush. Can the Lions get pressure on Justin Herbert with 4 guys? If they're able to, I think the Lions can win this game handily.
Right. And I think that running the football is going to be, I don't know if that's going to be the hardest part, but I think it's going to be of the utmost importance that David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs play them against. And I think that if we can get out to a good lead, which I think we will, because I think we can play defense against those guys and stop them on a couple possessions. Now, if you can go out and score like on your first 3 possessions and jump out, it's really hard for a team to come back on you, especially when you have a good pass rush like us. We are built to play from ahead and choke you out. We're a very, very hard team to come back on once we're up on you. I think that's going to be, I don't know if that's the hardest thing. I'm not answering your question at all, John. I don't know if that's going to be the hardest thing.
We answered his question very well. I mean, look at these names, Russ. Of course, you got Justin Herbert under center, Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly, Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett, Quentin Johnson. None of these guys scare me, right? I mean, Keenan Allen's a great receiver, maybe top 12. Keenan in the league. I could think of probably 10 guys I'd take above him. We absolutely should win this game.
Should. Yep, absolutely. Going out on the road, becoming 4-1. How many teams that go 4-1 on the road don't have a lot of success throughout the season? It's teed up for him. Scott Smith says that he just watched the Lions kick the Packers' butt in Game 4 again. That a great game that was. Yes. I don't know if there's any Packer fans that are watching since this is an all Lions show today, but just in case there is, I want you to see that you can go ahead and let the butt hurt flow through you right there. Yes, the Packers just watched us kick their ass again. And that's how you beat a team like the Packers. What I'm talking about right now, which is you want to be able to stop them from running the football. Because, I mean, when they're able to run the football, the Packers, I mean, they just truck stick. I guess that they didn't have Stafford. All right, there will be more Lions fans and Charger fans at SoFi. Bear Down Mike confirms that, and I agree with that. It's game. Oh God, I lost my spot again, Mike? I hate it when I do that.
We are going to recruit Bear Down Mike to be a Lions fan someday. Bear Down Mike.
No, I think that he's the best. I mean, he's like the best Bear fan that there is. He's coming on a Lions show and still commenting in there.
Kimberly's a nurse, and she says it's only a 2 or 3 week deal on a bruised rib for David Montgomery. So there's our resident medical expert. Thank you, Kimberly.
You like that?
For sure. Cartilage injuries are painful. Absolutely. Think about Taylor Decker. I mean, he's pretty much played with a high ankle sprain the entire season. I mean, there's no way he recovered from that fast. It's like, you're an offensive lineman. They're like, yeah, suck it up, Buttercup. Get back out there. You don't need your ankles. Like, you don't need your eating.
We're going to buy the kneecap off.
Yeah. So, it's game day. Set up the stream. Oh my gosh. All right. This guy's blocked. Block you. Screw you, Ayad. Stop promoting your crap on my show. You didn't ask me permission. You suck.
I didn't see it.
I know. That's because I just deleted it. And him. You're done. We have 0 tolerance for spam. Suck it. Suck it, spam boy. All right. Bear Down Mike. There will be more Lions fan. I already went there. What up? I don't know if you put that in there twice. Love the walking impression. No, I've done better walking impressions before, but yeah, thank you for that. But it was the thought that counted. LOL, you're right, Bear Down. Chargers, even when home, are the away team. Nobody likes the Chargers. They had to deal with Phillip Rivers.
They beat down. They beat. Of course, we know they beat the Jets on Monday. The week before that, they beat down the Bears, 31-17. The week before that, they lost to the Chargers, right? Or excuse me, I'm sorry, they lost to the Chiefs. 31-17, they lose to the Chiefs. There's no shame in losing to the Chiefs. And then on Monday before that, they lost 20-17 to the Dallas Cowboys. They lose into the good teams and they're beating the bad teams, but they're not rolling over them the way they should. Lions got a real good shot in this one. When I look back at what the Chargers have done, they barely beat Minnesota with Kirk Cousins. Yeah, it's going to be a great game. 4:25 start.
And Fred says that if you have to go at 11:50, can we have main event Mike keep it going?
Today's my day off.
Oh my gosh, that it looks like it can. Maybe I'll even send a invite over to Jeremy Ballrick. You could talk to Jeremy B for a minute while I go do that, and I flip it out. As long as I don't do that crazy echo thing from last time, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. That was bad.
But it gives me good practice. I'll be able to move the show to my phone, and then I'll be able to jump back on with you guys. So we'll do that. That's a great suggestion. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, because we're problem solvers, right there. Mm-hmm. Rick says my boyfriend used to be a Chiefs fan. I had him rooting for the Lions in week 1.
We're gonna buy the kneecap off.
That's right.
He's just trying to impress the old man.
Anyone ever seen the Family Guy episode where they bashed the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, it seems like I do remember that, but I don't remember the specifics. I'm going to look that up right after the show, though.
Absolutely, because I need to see that, because I need to make a video that spoofs the spoof. All right, I had a torn cartilage in my rib. It hurts like heck, but I was healthy in less than 3 weeks. So
we should be seeing 100% David Montgomery then.
Yeah, and then even if we don't, obviously Jahmyr Gibbs, if you give him 30 carries, it doesn't hurt your feelings, does it? I mean, Brian, the dog specifically, right?
Talking about the Family Guy episode.
All right, Brent said the Chargers need to move to Grand Rapids. LO. I mean, yeah, we could have a
I don't understand
field. I don't know. That maybe they're like an expansion team or whatever. It's like even when their team is good, they still don't like them. The only person that loves the Chargers was that plant they put in there a few weeks back.
Power plant.
Okay. Is it?
Chargers,
okay.
Yeah, the lightning bolt. It's a power plant. And it feeds the entire Orange County Valley there. That's how they got the name, the San Diego Chargers.
Rick says that Phillip Rivers has his own football team. They can call him Dad. I like it. The trash talk's not bad today, guys. You guys keep it up. Keep it up. I like it. The O-line is back right there. I want to talk a little bit about the O-line, and it's like this is being undersold. Why isn't this more of a big deal? Because I love the fact that David Montgomery's coming back, but I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs rushed for 150 yards behind Graham Glasgow, Osiki and Colby Sorsdahl.
And Osiwasu played really good. Yeah, for a guy that you never heard of, he can't pronounce his name. He played really well.
I couldn't pronounce his name if he was a starter. I mean, it took me a year and a half to come to Hello to Pudi Vaitai, whatever.
I know we were calling him Hell of a Booty.
Hell of a Booty Vaitai. We just settled on that.
Isn't it? It's Oswika.
Oswika? Is that what it is?
Okay. Oswika.
And Bear Down Mike coming in with his Bear Down. I will always be a Bear fan. As much as they suck right now, I will cheer for the Lions as if they were a single team in the NFC North relevant. But come game day, you are my enemy.
And I got to admit, Bear Down Mike, anytime the Lions aren't playing, I'm rooting for the Bears to beat the Packers, or anyone to beat the Packers. Yep. I'm rooting for the Bears to beat the Vikings. I'm always rooting for the Bears when it's not the Lions, and that's the honest truth. All the way back to the Walter Payton days, I loved watching Walter. He's always put way too low on the all-time running back list. I love the 85 Bears. I mean, I'm not here to start no scuffle. I'm just here to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
That's right. That's right. We can't allow the Chargers front seven to get it going against us, says Brian. We have to keep our offense on the field. And like what we just said right there, there's no excuses. The entire offensive line, we got Jonah back. We got Ragnow, Frank the Tank. Hey, Mikey, We got to send some guys out there to L.A., and we got to make sure that we go protect our boy. He's the one that runs the restaurant. He's the one that is like the head lion and all the distribution. We got to make sure that we protect. Hey, I think we got to send out Frankie. This is one we got to send out Frankie. We got.
Yeah, and to Brian's point there, I think what's going to be crucial in this game is first down for the Lions offense. You don't want to get into third and long, right? You don't want to get into third and screwed. So if you can get good positive yardage on first down and make the next 2 downs manageable, or hell, it's Dan Campbell. The next 3 downs, you need to make them manageable. I think first down is going to be really huge to what Brian's saying is keeping that offense on the field. You need to be able to move the sticks, get the run game going, but first down is going to be crucial. Some creative play calling. I think San Diego, gosh, I'm always going to call them San Diego. I think the Chargers are susceptible on the back end. We should be able to go deep on them.
Yeah, I really like that. We can't allow that to happen, but I don't think we're going to make that happen. You got to be able to control the line of scrimmage, and when your offensive line is allowing 4 yards before contact and you got good running backs, that's a recipe for success. I think that you're going to see a lot of 3rd and 4th and 1s that are going to be very, very gettable this week. It's going to be big having Montgomery back. I agree with that.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
Be able to bite them kneecaps off.
Think about this, Russ. We've already beaten Kansas City. We've already beaten the Raiders. If we can beat the Chargers this week, and then we get Denver at home on December 15th, I think, 16th, 17th, something. If we run the table on the AFC West, what's that say about the Detroit Lions? I mean, the AFC West, every year, they're the deepest division in football.
Right.
It's the hardest division in football. If the Lions can run the table against the AFC West, that's going to be huge for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, but it comes down to that one thing, that PTSOL thing. That's all the Lions are. When people are scared, this is all they're scared of. They're scared of that PTSOL feeling right there, and then the feeling right here. It feels like we've been waiting forever to get a Lombardi trophy, and it feels like everybody keeps on jumping the line ahead of us. Eventually, you got to become the villain. You got to become the villain after a while and just go take it. And that's the mentality that I think that the Lions have this year. And we got a couple of bust out things. It's like I saw a comment in here or two about Jameson Williams. It's like, are we going to try to get him going, bringing in Donovan Peoples-Jones? I mean, do you think that they still try to spoon feed Jameson Williams a certain amount of targets regardless of adding wide receiver depth?
I think they do. I think you've got to. If they know the potential the kid's got, and the only way to get him there is to keep feeding him the ball. I mean, he makes a big play every 4 attempts, right?
Right. They tried to in the last game on that they had that one handoff play in the backfield that Max Crosby blew it up. But that's all good. What do you think is going to be the biggest thing out there? Like, what do you think is going to be the biggest factor in this? Do you think that the Lions roll in this game? Do you think they could go in there and get another double-digit win? Because this game is polar like that for me. I think that they could go in there and just blow them out and just have the game of their life with all their guys that they have. The running game gets going. They get out to a big lead and just step on them. You force Justin Herbert into a trick box and just never let the foot off the gas. I could see that happening, but I could also see it happening the other way. I could see Justin Herbert going, all right, I have Keenan Allen. I got Austin Eckler. I'm going to get the rookie going. And they just bulldoze us. Like they have the talent on offense to do to us what Baltimore did to us. And then there's also the one where, it's just a good game and, it's a good fight right at the middle out on the West Coast and they just fight it out. So this game's all over the place for me. They got a great quarterback. It's the best quarterback that I think that we're going to face for the rest of the year. I think Herbert's better than Dak Prescott. I think that he's the best quarterback that we're going to face for the rest of the year. And that's a great test for this Detroit Lions team. Now I'm going to get in here Is there anything that you want to add to that, Mike?
No, I agree with you. Justin Herbert, definitely an upper echelon quarterback. And, outside of Patrick Mahomes, probably the best QB we'll face all year.
What I want to do, I'm going to get in here. I'm going to invite Jeremy B.
Dak Prescott played pretty good last week in a losing effort. But I've never been a believer in Dakota Rain, and I don't think I ever will be.
Let's see. What else was in there? What about I'm trying to do something, Mike. I'm sorry.
You want me to plug the show while you do that?
Go ahead and plug the show.
It's the NFC North open mic every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We are in there talking to all four fan bases, trying to talk a little smack. It's kind of died down since the Lions are dominating this division. But now those Viking fans are coming out of the woodwork now that they've got their fifth win, and they're knocking on the door to the Lions leading this division. So every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, the NFC North open mic. Won't you join us?
Awesome. So something that I wanted to talk about that I'd forgotten about, that I shouldn't have forgotten about, is these Minnesota Vikings. Now, from a Lions fan perspective right here, here's a 5-4 team that just won their game. And now this division lead where they have to actually play us twice. So if they had done something crazy like win out, they would win the division, right? Because they would, in fact, have us twice in there. Are you worried about these Minnesota Vikings sneaking up on us and getting some things done?
You asking me or the audience or both?
I'm asking you, and I'm asking the audience.
I'm not worried one bit. I'm not worried one bit about the Minnesota Vikings. Joshua Dobbs, they go in and they beat Atlanta. Whoopee-doo. Okay, whoopee-doo. Kudos to Kwesi for going and getting Josh Dobbs. I think they did everything that they could. But I wasn't worried about him with Kirk Cousins. Why would I be worried about him now with this guy? I mean, first of all, he doesn't have any eyebrows. I don't trust anyone with no eyebrows.
Even if it's not his fault?
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Let's just take that. I didn't mean to go there. I feel like Will Smith is going to get up and smack me from the crowd.
Paul Jones says the Pastronaut might give us fits with his legs. I love that, because a guy can escape the pocket. It's like all of a sudden it's like he's just lethal all the time. It's like he had a good game. He had a good game, but really, yeah, you should be able to play defense against good quarterbacks, and I'm not worried about it either. I think that we're built to go in and make it so you have to beat us. Like, I remember looking back at games and you look at all these different games on the Lions schedule, and then we would look at and say, oh, there's a loss. Here's a loss. There's a loss. Okay, we can win these 5 games, so we can win. And then we try to work our way into the playoffs by
Playoffs?
If all of our guys overachieve, but our teams were never really that good, so we had to do that. But now it's different. I don't feel like we have to go in, what are the teams that we can beat? They got to come and beat us. Like, even though we're going there, they got to beat us. What are you going to do about Aiden Hutchinson? What are you going to do, Chargers, about stopping Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery and this vaunted passing attack? What are you going to do to stop? I know, vaunted. But what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to stop this defensive line that wants to get in there and leads the NFL in pressures? What are you going to do about it? That's the question. Like, what do the Lions have to do to win? Play your game. Play your game. Be who you are. Run the football. Run your offense. Get after the quarterback. That's who you are. Go do it. Right? The Chargers, they got to figure out who they are. They don't even know who they are right now. They got all these guys that are good, but they don't know who they are.
But you made a great point, something I hadn't
But they
thought
are
about.
who we thought they were.
Now that they've made it to 5 wins, they could win out. They get the Lions, of course, in week 16 and week 18. And I say I'm not worried. However, now that I look at their schedule, coming up next week, this coming week, I should say, they get the Saints. That's a beatable team. They're at home. The Vikings are at home against the Saints. Then they go on the road. Guess who they get? The Broncos. And after that, guess who they get? At home, they play the Bears. So Saints, Broncos, and Bears. And who comes after that? The Raiders. Good God. They have a nice, soft schedule coming up. They could absolutely
Maybe
momentum with Josh Dobbs, because then they run into the Bengals on the road. And then they got to play the Lions 2 out of the last 3 weeks with the Packers sandwiched in the middle. So the last 4 games of the year are going to be real tough for them. But the next 5, they could absolutely win and get to 10 wins.
You know, I feel you on that.
Against the Raiders or against the Broncos, or it's going to be ugly for you.
I feel you on that, but I also feel that it could go the other way too, because like our toughest games that we counted as wins for the Lions, right? Look at those Broncos. Look at how everybody's making fun of the Broncos because they got 70 put up on blah, 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 blah. All that happens. Now they're 5-4, right?
No.
Like, what are the Broncos at right now?
I don't know, but they beat the Chiefs, right?
They beat the Chiefs.
And they beat the Packers.
They beat the Packers.
Yeah, I don't know what it doesn't show here what their record is. I can look it up.
Yeah, but what my point to it, not what those records are, but you listed off those teams like, oh, they can win these games, right? The Broncos are a better team. The Raiders, after they fired their coach, all of a sudden these guys were like, oh yeah, I guess I'm Max Crosby. Oh, I guess I'm Josh Jacobs. Like these guys are waking up because they didn't want to play with McDaniels, and maybe these guys are actually going to be a better version of the Raiders because they fired a coach. They're actually playing for the new guy.
Mm-hmm.
Was it just a 1 week thing? That remains to be seen. But what if the Raiders are actually tough?
The Broncos have 3 wins on the season.
Okay, 3 and what? 3 and is it 3 and 5? 3 and 5?
Mm-hmm.
And who are they playing this week?
The Buffalo Bills on Monday night.
So here's the thing: is like you end up winning a couple of games that you thought you were going to lose, and all of a sudden your mind flip is done, right? Oh, we never thought that the Minnesota Vikings were going to upset the San Francisco 49ers. They did. Oh, they got a court. Oh, they won again. Oh, what? They won again. Like this happens in the NFL, guys. So I am concerned with the Minnesota Vikings a little bit because they have a whole bunch of players that are on their defense that are ascending that we don't know who they are, which means that Brian Flores is getting the most out of that defense. And last year, this same Minnesota Vikings team went to the playoffs with the last ranked defense in the NFL. So that leads me to believe that if Brian Flores could make this team average on defense, that Minnesota would be a dangerous team for anybody.
And let me say that again. The next 4 games for the Vikings: Saints, Broncos, Bears, Raiders. That's 4 in a row, my friend, that are totally winnable for them.
That's totally winnable, but 3 of those games, I mean, I like Saints, you just talked to me about how they scared you for us. So why wouldn't they scare you for them?
Well, the Vikings will get the Saints at home, and we got to go on the road to play them.
Correct. Okay. There you go. So that's tough, but that's the Saints are absolutely capable with Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara to go into what is it? What is their
US
stadium?
Bank Stadium.
US Bank Stadium. I don't even want to say the word bank because every time I go to a bank stadium, they lose.
And the interesting part is Swaggy is back from injury now, and he gets a little revenge game against the Lions. It is 11:50, my friend.
It is 11:50 right now. So I don't have. Can you want to do
it?
You got this.
You see that Emmy nomination over my shoulder, brother?
do not question me. All right, I'm gonna.
Right.
I'll move it down there. Okay.
All right. Russ is off the show now, so let's talk about him. That Christopher Walken's a pretty good impression, but his Arnold Schwarzenegger is terrible. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, Vikings scaring me a little bit with the next 4 games. Then they get the Bengals, Lions, Packers, Lions. That's going to be a brutal 4-game stretch for them. Even though the Packers are down, that's always a tough game. Packers, Vikings. Vikings will get them at home. That's the one good thing that comes out of that. They got to play the Bengals and the Lions on the road in those last games. That's, I assume, is going to be 2 losses. And let's talk about Josh Dobbs for a minute. Got to love this guy, man. Got to love him. In this year alone, he's played for Cleveland, Tennessee. Who else? He played out Arizona, and now Minnesota. He was 1-7 in Arizona as the starter, but he was competitive. He kept these guys in, and he was impressive, and that's why the Vikings went and got him. Now he's going to have another week to learn the playbook. He was very impressive with his legs, and he's a gamer. He's got a lot of moxie. Of course, Vikings got a decent offensive line. Christian Darrisaw, one of the best tackles in the game. They got one of the best tight ends in the game, and they'll probably have Justin Jefferson back as well. So he's going to have some weapons. He's going to have some protection. But you know what? He's not an elite quarterback. I'm not worried about him as far as the Lions one bit. Put it in the comments. Let me know if you're worried about him with your team. If you're a Packer fan, if you're a Bear fan, or if you're a Lion fan, we've all got to face Josh Dobbs this year. What is your worry level now that Josh Dobbs is the quarterback of the Vikings? Are you more worried now than when Kirk Cousins was there, who has no mobility, one of the best accurate throwers in the game? But now you sacrifice that guy for a dual threat who could add a new dimension to this Vikings offense and make them more dangerous. Or is tailoring the playbook in Kevin O'Connell's offense going to change things up so much that it's going to be a learning curve and it's going to be a struggle for Josh Dobbs? I'm going to tell you right now, they are entertaining the idea of re-signing Kirk Cousins. After Kirk Cousins' agent reached out to the team and said, hey, we'd like to, talk about an extension, and they said no. And basically, Vikings fans were on this show saying, get rid of him. He can't win in the postseason. Get rid of him. If Josh Dobbs wins 5 of these games down the stretch, 5 more, I should say, of these games down the stretch, I don't think they're going to re-sign Kirk Cousins at all. They're going to play Josh Dobbs next year and draft a quarterback. I think that's the right move when you talk about salary cap, when you talk about some of the bad contracts that this team has made. To obviously the highest priced tight end in the league. He's a good tight end. He might be top 5 tight end, TJ Hawkinson, but he's not the number 1 tight end in this league. So why is he getting paid as such? Josh Oliver, their backup tight end, is the highest paid backup tight end in the league. Danielle Hunter, they gave him a bag of money with no guarantee that he can't be franchise tagged, that he could be franchise tagged. So they made some questionable moves. And I think getting rid of a high-priced player behind under center makes sense for them. Kirk Cousins is going to do very well. I think he's a gamer. He's got at least 3 more years left in him. Coming back from an Achilles is going to be tough on him. After watching the Netflix series, I became a big Kirk Cousins fan of the man, the character that he has. And I want to see him do well. If I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I will try to sign Kirk Cousins for a 2-year deal around $40 million. About what Daniel Jones got. 41.2 for a 2-year deal sounds about right. I would pay that all day, every day for Kirk Cousins. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. And don't forget, folks, we're doing this 5 days a week. It's Football Talk with Russell Wayne, 11 a.m. right here on this very network. If you're watching on YouTube and it dawns on you that you haven't clicked the like button yet, why would we have 30 people watching but only 5 likes on YouTube? Just reach up, smash the like button. Real easy to do. And we're you hear that, right? You hear it, right? Stop it. You're killing us. Turn it off, man. Oh, that was brutal. Thank you, Russ, for not subjecting us to that. If there are any viewers left after that, thank you very much. Remix. That was Russell Wayne on the remix. I'm your host, Main Event Mike, your interim host. Kind of like Antonio Pierce, the interim coach of the Raiders, who Russ talked about a second ago. These guys are playing. They're showing out for this guy. A really cool rumor. I don't know if it's true, but I'm sure everyone out here has already heard this, that Josh McDaniels asked Antonio Pierce to address the team after a tough loss. And the words that Antonio used to pump him up was he alluded to how the New England Patriots were undefeated going into the Super Bowl, and Antonio Pierce on the New York Giants, they beat that team in the Super Bowl, and that everyone thought that those Patriots couldn't be beat. And of course, Josh McDaniels was on the other sideline for that game for the Patriots. And the players, by all accounts, bought in. They cheered. They were super stoked. The pep talk worked. And after that meeting, Josh McDaniels pulled Antonio Pierce aside and supposedly said, "Don't ever talk about the Patriots like that again." Now, if this is true, that's the softest shit I've ever heard outside of Green Bay, right there. If that's true, and I think everybody who watches this show knows how I feel about Josh McDaniels. I'm a closet Raiders fan. When the Lions aren't winning, I like to root for the Raiders. I love Al Davis and the old Kenny Stabler Raiders, and I became a fan of the Raiders when the Lions would stink. I had to have someone to root for in playoffs. Well, if this is true, Josh McDaniels should never have a head coaching job again in the NFL. I don't think he will after the debacle in Denver. Now this debacle in Vegas. I think we've seen the last of Josh McDaniels as a head coach in the NFL. The question is, what are the odds that Bill Belichick or the New England organization brings back Josh McDaniels again? If that happens, I think this is the softest collusion thing I've ever seen in my life. Let us know what you think. Put it in the comments. Should Josh McDaniels ever coach in this league again? What else we got? Let's talk about this performance by the Green Bay Packers last week. They beat the Rams. Brett Rippon, the quarterback who played for the Rams in Matt Stafford's absence, has been let go this morning. They have signed Carson Wentz to the Los Angeles Rams. Brett Rippon, 13 of 28. That's really bad, folks. Less than 50%. 130 yards and an interception with a quarterback rating of 45.2. I think Carson Wentz on those Rams would have done better against Green Bay. Green Bay very fortunate to face this Rams team without Matt Stafford. And we've said it a couple of times this week about this performance by Green Bay. Yes, they won 20-3, but you know what? They lost 2 fumbles. They gave up 4 sacks. They had 8 penalties. They were 1 for 4 in the red zone. Okay. This is terrible. They held the ball 35 minutes to 25 minutes because of the quarterback play of the Rams. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Could have been a much different situation, even with Carson Wentz under center. Are you back, Russ? You're on mute if you are.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry, man. I don't know how to do that without
I do. Go to your settings and turn off Bluetooth.
Okay, so I just have to shut off I'll shut off the Bluetooth machine when I leave, and I'll take it down. I was trying to fix that, and then I couldn't do it from my phone. I had to run back upstairs.
Yeah,
that was
we saw.
You saw me running upstairs.
Yeah, we saw you run upstairs. We saw you in the room with your Jesus hoodie, and but I say you can switch over to your phone, just put it on speaker, but turn off the Bluetooth.
Okay.
That's what it was. It was brutal. Do we have any viewers left?
Yeah. Well, there's 34 on there right now, so we kept some of them. 35.
34 right there.
Number 34.
What's next on our agenda? It's noon straight up, my friend.
It's noon straight up. I mean, we're talking Detroit Lions. I was trying to go through and find. I'm really sorry to everybody that had the seizure problems and everything in there. I'm looking back through the comments.
Seizure. Gosh, somebody say they had a seizure.
No, they actually have seizure problems, and I probably didn't help.
Probably didn't help.
I probably didn't help them all that much. So I apologize for that. But one of these days we're gonna get a nice big fat sponsor. Somebody's gonna like what we do, and and we'll be able to have a guy that's dedicated to doing all the sound. But right now, it's just us, man. That's all. It's just us. It's just me and you, Mike.
There's a lot of talk about contract extension for Jared Goff. Jeremy Ballreich from the South Florida Tribune made a nice post today talking about how contract negotiations have stalled twice with Jared Goff. They're actually trying to extend him this year, which I thought was a real good nugget of information. Thank you for that, Jeremy B., if you're out there listening. As we said before, Daniel Jones got 41.2. We also said that Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff are essentially the same guy. Do you think Jared Goff takes 41.2, Russ?
I do. I think that Goff might even. I mean, I've seen a bunch of people with the Lions already that have taken less money because they were dealing with Brad Holmes. And I don't think it's personal. I don't think it's like Brad Holmes saying, any one thing about Jared Goff or not about Jared Goff. I just don't think that Brad Holmes is going to pay him like all these big quarterbacks are going to get paid. And he's willing to move on from him if he doesn't, because he has a plan that's bigger than any one person. So I think that's probably why it has stalled, for a lot of the same reasons. Jamal Williams, they didn't get that done because Brad Holmes is just a straight G when it comes to that. Hey, look, this is what we have for that position. This is what we're willing to offer you. We want to keep you. This is what it is. Take it or leave it. Like, working with it a little bit. Brad Holmes has been a great negotiator like that. So I absolutely think they get him for a deal in comparison to what the top quarterbacks are getting.
Right. And there's a lot of outrage by some fans out there about how much these quarterbacks are getting paid in, north of $50 million, closing in on $60 million a year. But what people don't understand, I think, or some people don't understand, I should say, is that percentage of the salary cap is still the same it's always been. When the salary cap was $50 million lower a few years ago, Tony Romo was still getting that same percentage of the salary cap that Lamar Jackson is getting today. That hasn't changed. And I don't think we're going to see it change. I believe it's 22%. I want to be wrong on purpose just to coax Jeremy Ballreich on here to tell me I'm wrong. But I'll tell you, that percentage is still the same of the salary cap that is allotted for the quarterback position. And Brad Holmes is not going to exceed that number. Right. I promise you, to your point, Russ.
Yeah. And that's just it too, is like, I think they do have a little bit, because it is some of the ones that are egregiously over when you're in 55 to 60 million. That is over the average of what Dak Prescott or what Tony Romo was, the egregious ones right there. But putting it back into the perspective, right around 40, 41 million, that number that you're talking about, that is right where it's at. That's right where the percentage works out, like in comparison to the old school. And that's where I think that Brad Holmes would be with the guy, or maybe even a little bit less than that. Or he's going to run with the rookie. They're developing quarterbacks right now. They're developing every single position for the Detroit Lions right now. They have plans, they have backup plans, and they have backup plans for their backup plans, which is something we're not used to here in Detroit. We're lucky to have a plan. But what do they got out there? What do you guys think out there? Let me look at these. What do we got here?
So who do you think is the highest paid NFL quarterback in the league?
Probably the last person that signed.
Exactly right. And you know who that was?
I'm not sure.
Joe Burrow, $55 million a year.
Okay. So that's, I mean, ask any of the Bengals fans that are out there. Are you happy that they signed Joe Burrow to a long contract?
It goes Joe Burrow, then Patrick Mahomes at 52.6, then Justin Herbert at 52.5, Lamar Jackson at 52 million flat. So those are your top 4, all in the AFC, by the way. Those are your top 4 paid quarterbacks. Now, would you take any of those 4 over Jared Goff? This is the question for you. Burrow, Mahomes, Herbert, Jackson. Would you trade even up Jared Goff for either of those 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, all 4 of them.
Yeah, I mean,
all 4 of them I'd trade for Jared Goff. And you know what? You can have Ben Johnson too. And I love Ben Johnson. I love what they've done together. But I don't see Jared Goff getting more money than those guys under any circumstances. No, so when we start throwing around a number like 41.2, that seems to fit for me.
I like that number, and I like that such good quarterbacks are at the top of that list. That's actually telling right there. Usually, I mean, you want to see a couple guys that got ripped off. That's proof that the salary cap and the rookie contracts is actually fixing that parity to where the good players are actually getting those big contracts and not some brand new dude that nobody knows about, right? Because you have to earn those contracts. No one's going to re-up your rookie contract unless you're badass. So that's what the contracts have done.
And here's a nice little nugget. Aaron Rodgers restructured his deal, which brings his salary cap number every year to only 37.5, which means Aaron Rodgers will not even be in the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks moving forward. Josh Allen, the 9th highest paid quarterback at 38. So do you give Jared Goff more money than Josh Allen?
I mean, I don't think so.
Yes. I say yes.
I just don't see him doing it, Mike. And I'm not trying to hate, when it comes to these like Lion fans that are out there. God, I'm like the biggest Jared Goff apologists in the world. Like I am a Jared Goff fan, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to throw a take out there that tells you something that I don't think is true, which is we're all in on Jared Goff. Some of the fan base went all out to all in, and I don't think it's like that. So,
I mean, remember when Deshaun Watson signed that incredible contract? It comes out to $46 million a year. That makes him the 8th highest paid quarterback in the league. Kyler Murray's ahead of him at 46.1. I would trade Jared Goff for. I would never trade Jared Goff for Kyler Murray, or Deshaun Watson, or Russell Wilson, who's number 6 at 48.5. Okay, Jalen Hurts, $51 million. He's number 5. So between Russell Wilson and Jalen Hurts, I would put Jared Goff there. I would make Jared Goff the 6th highest paid quarterback. Anything over 48.5 gets him above Russell Wilson. I think that's fair. Now, you're saying, Russ, you don't think Brad Holmes would even go that high. Let's find an even number here that's between Russell and Jalen, which is $50 million. Would you give $50 million to Jared Goff? Gosh, that seems unfathomable.
They're not going to do that. And the thing is like, I wanted to go in there. I had to take care of Riker for a second, but it just doesn't fit the MO of what he is doing, where he's allotting the money. He's not going to allow any player to take hostage of the team and get. I can't even see Brad Holmes doing a max deal. Maybe Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. But we have our first draft crop of guys that we're going to be paying over the next couple of years. Jonah Jackson, you got Derek Barnes, you got Aleem McNeil, you got, Aiden Hutchinson coming up in a couple of years. I'm on Ross St. Brown. Like all these guys with all those millions that we have. This is a good problem to have, by the way, which we're going to sign our own guys. And Jared Goff is going to be offered a slice of that pie, right? They have a certain amount of money that's going to be there. And if he goes way over, like if he's trying to get $50 million a year, Brad Holmes is just going to shut it down. You can want in one hand and shit in the other. Let's see which one fills up first. It's it's fine. You can play great, but you're not going to cap strap my team while I'm trying to win multiple championships.
Right. And that begs the question, why would Aaron Rodgers take a pay cut to help his team out when he's Aaron Rodgers? Well, let me tell you, Aaron Rodgers is the career earnings leader all time in the NFL. No one has made more money in the NFL than Aaron Rodgers. $365 million Aaron Rodgers has made in his career. Okay, that's a lot of cheese sold in Wisconsin, let me tell you. Tom Brady, second on that list with $333 million. And then every other quarterback in the top 10, minus 2, have won a Super Bowl. The top 10 most gross earning quarterbacks ever. Phillip Rivers, 243.9 is number 10, never won a Super Bowl. Matt Ryan at number 4, 320 million, never won a Super Bowl. All the others have a Super Bowl ring to their credit, including Matthew Stafford, who is the third highest grossing quarterback of all time at $328 million. It seems like an absurd amount of money, but it goes to show you how important the quarterback position is. And every Super Bowl in the last 10 years has either been won by a quarterback who restructured his contract to be below the salary cap average, or by a quarterback on a rookie deal that the team controlled for less than the salary cap average. So the statistics prove to go out and do a money grab if you're a quarterback like Matt Stafford or like Jared Goff or like Kirk Cousins, and you've never won a Super Bowl, it only hurts your chances and your team's chances of winning one. And we see these quarterbacks who have won a Super Bowl, they get paid. Okay. It's a reward, or it's a prognostication of what the future is going to bring for these teams. So they pay them. So it would behoove Jared Goff to not go for a $50 million contract if he wants to get a Super Bowl and get paid on the back end. And also they can do things like incentives in the contract that could push him up to over $50 million if he were to win a Super Bowl. I could see Brad Holmes doing something smart like that.
Like, if you don't want to be dead, you want to win championships. Like, I don't know where Jared Goff is on that overall list, but I'm sure that when it comes down to it, you're going to find out that Jared Goff has a lot of money. Okay. And at this point in his career, I don't think that, being the highest paid quarterback in NFL history is on his list to do things at this point. He wants a championship. He's got a chip on his shoulder, knowing that they traded for a quarterback that won a Super Bowl with his team that he built up over his career in LA. He wants a title. And I think that him playing for $35 to $40 million a year here in Detroit over a multi-year deal is going to allow the Lions to continue to pay their offensive line over $100 million, which means that Jared Goff will not be dead by week 8. So I think that he's going to work a deal, and he's going to be a Lion. They will work a long-term deal, but I think it's going to be under $40 million.
I'm over under $40 million. Put it in the comments. You think Jared Goff stays a Detroit Lion? You think they let him go and they bring along Hendon Hooker? I mean, let's face it. We can franchise tag Goff, right?
Correct. After 2024.
And what's the franchise? What's the franchise number for
after 2024, mind you, guys? We're talking about re-signing Goff. Goff is not a free agent after 2023. So let's understand that if we want to play this cat and mouse game, Brad Holmes has an entire off season, and then he becomes a free another season, and then he becomes a free agent. He is signed through 2024. So Brad Holmes has this $31 million quarterback for one more year. So Goff can, like I said, he can want in one hand and shit in the other, but he's got to wait out that deal. I guess he could hold out, which would be dumb if he wants to win a championship. So he has nothing.
At one point, wasn't Goff the highest paid quarterback in the league?
He was.
At one point.
Yep. The team that made him the highest paid quarterback sold him down the road.
Mm-hmm. And now we got that contract, and we're happy with it.
As a throw-in, yes.
Just shows you how, as the salary cap goes up and these quarterbacks' salaries go up, it is really a good move to get somebody under center on a contract that you control. And that's what we're looking at with Jared Goff. We control this contract now for what is outside the top 15, and he's definitely in the top 15 of quarterbacks. And that's where it comes down to, is regardless of what the number is, I think Brad Holmes is fair, and he's going to pay Goff his value, right? And that's got to be top 10 in my opinion. That's why I think he will sign over $40 million. Well,
I mean, yeah, you would think that, Cameron Sutton was probably the highest graded cornerback to come out last year. He's one of the top 3 on any board, where all the other cornerbacks were signing for $17-18 million for these high-end players. He for some reason he signed here for 11. Why is that, Mike?
Because that's the best deal he could get, I believe.
I don't think so. I mean, I think that he could have definitely went and got 15 somewhere else. He was the 3rd graded guy on the list of cornerbacks from last year, when all of his other guys that were out there got more money at the cornerback position. Cornerbacks are getting 20 plus millions. Mm-hmm. He could have gotten, as a above average to good player, he should have gotten 15.
Mm-hmm.
Like 15 isn't even high end cornerback. That's good. Good cornerbacks were getting 15. And he took 11. He took 11, and I'll answer the question for you, since you won't answer it because you won't come off of the point. It is because he's coming here because he wants to win the championship, and he's playing for less money, which is the same thing I think Jared Goff is going to do, because he has a chance to win a title here, and the offensive line is already established with young playmakers still on rookie deals. Why wouldn't he stay here for less?
Especially when you look at how Ben Johnson has orchestrated this offense around him. That's a great point. That's a great point. Yep. Well, don't forget, tomorrow, folks, is Thursday here on Football Talk with Russell Wade, and we're going to have our good friend Grove GT Teague from And We Know Sports. He will be here tomorrow, talking about all things NFL and in the world of sports. And look who's on the show. It is our good friend Jeremy Ballrick at Smoking Jeremy B on X, formerly known as Twitter. He's also a writer for the South Florida Tribune. Good morning, Jeremy Ballrick. Please impart your wisdom on us about Jared Goff's contract.
Well, I think Jared Goff wants around that $45 million. But contract talks have broken down twice so far this season, once in the offseason, once at midseason. I think he's asking for $45 million. I think Brad Holmes is going, well, by analytics, and they do a lot of their contracts by analytics, speaking of Cam Shutdown and CJ. Let's get into that. Everybody else with those caliber of players have made $13 to $20 million apiece. Both of them signed for less to be in Detroit. The safeties make less than the corners because the corners are the diva of the defense. We all know this. But everybody else was making 15 to 20, and Cam Shutdown said, I'll take 3 years at 11 to play in Detroit. Why? Because Matt Dunstall is a cap cruncher. He looks at what is the fair mid-market value for each position. And 18.2% of the salary is what breaks down for every Super Bowl winning quarterback other than Matthew Stafford since the year 2000. And that breaks down to $41.2 million per year. So I think they countered when he said 45. Okay, we're going to offer you 39, which is more than you've made in any one season in actual salary in your career. And he said no. And then they bumped it to 40. And he still said no. So I think 41.2 million is the number that if he re-signs with us, it'll be.
Okay, so that's going to be the number that goes out there, folks. Everybody that's listening, that'll be the over-under number, not at 40 million where we were just talking about right there. I think that's a good base. What do you think Jared Goff going to sign this contract, $41.2 million, over or under that number? Put it into the comments. Boom.
Well, I'm going to address Sarah Jean. She said PFF named Josh Allen as a first-team All-Pro. What a joke. He was second in interceptions last year. And I think it's going to be under. I think they're pushing for the under. And the reason why is because all the teams that pay over, they may make it to the Super Bowl, but they don't win. Case in point, Jalen Hurts last year.
So how much does Jared Goff make right now?
31.5 million. Next year it's 35.
Okay, next year it's 35.
Yep.
Do you know what the franchise tag number is for quarterbacks?
41.3.
Wrong. 32.4.
That's if it's the transitional tag. If it's the exclusive tag, it's 41.3.
Right. The non-exclusive tag is 32.4.
Right.
And what did you say the exclusive franchise tag was?
Well, it was 41 this year. And that's why they went ahead and gave Daniel Jones $1 million under that. Because that's a contract his agent says, wow, we're not getting this anywhere else. Take it.
Right. So with all of that information right there, 42.1 seems like the perfect number, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's over the franchise tag number.
Okay.
Okay.
And under the median market value.
That's what I'm getting at.
Of those top 10 quarterbacks.
So if I'm Jared Goff, I'm going to take anything over that franchise, $1 over that number. I'm going to take it because we control that, right? We can franchise tag him for that number. So why would I take anything less than that?
And right now, if they wanted to put him on the active roster, but that means they got to cut somebody, they could actually elevate Hendon Hooker now. Because he's not on the injured reserve. He's on the NFI list.
Right.
There's a big difference there, and people are missing that point. The NFI list is not the injured reserve. The NFI list means that once you come back, you're back. But that means they got to clear a roster spot for them. We just cleared a roster spot to bring up a UDFA linebacker that other teams were looking at poaching from us.
Trevor Nowaski.
Yes.
But with the new third quarterback rule, they could dress Hendon Hooker and make him inactive for the game, and then if a quarterback's
they could keep him on the inactive
bring
list.
Him in. Right. So,
but that still means they have to drop somebody in the long run from
the 53 man
for the 53
man.
Yeah,
right. Because even though you have a 53 man roster, only 48 of them can be activated at any time.
Exactly.
Right.
And 5 are healthy scratches. And why do defensive captains end up on that inactive list? That's a whole other thing that I don't understand. Because we saw it affected the D-line play. People can say it didn't, but not having Charles Harris out there, even though he isn't as productive as some of the other guys were, the chemistry of the D-line was gone in that game.
Fred Peterson here in the comments brings up a good point. It depends on how Goff does the rest of the way this year. I mean, isn't that valid though, Jeremy? If he wins the Super Bowl, he's going to get $50 million, right?
Maybe.
Doesn't he deserve it?
Did Tom Brady deserve it? Yes. Did he get it? No. That's my point.
He's already had $300 million in his entire career. He didn't give a shit.
No, but Tom Brady never gave a shit, though. He was always paid less than market value, is my point. All these other teams that overpaid, like when Rodgers won his Super Bowl in 2005, and the next year was his contract year, they made him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. And the cap was nowhere near what it is now. And what happened? They would make it to the playoffs and lose because they couldn't afford to keep the other good players that kept the chemistry of the team together. This team is about chemistry and fit. And that is why if the quarterback asked for too much money, you could see Jared Goff moved in the offseason.
And Rick makes a good point here in the comments. If Ben Johnson takes a head coaching job, he'll probably do anything and everything possible to take Jared Goff with him, which I agree with that. If I'm Ben Johnson, and you've got Jared Goff, expiring contract, hey, let's get this guy. I mean, a lot of these teams, personally, do you see Ben Johnson leaving the team for a head coaching position next year?
Yes.
Yeah, why wouldn't he? Right? There are
the Vegas odds are the highest it's been for any coaching position. It's even higher, and they were right when they said Josh Daniels would replace Bisaccia.
Josh McDaniels.
And the highest odds for the Vegas job right now is Ben Johnson.
No, I think Antonio Pierce is going to keep the job. I think he's going to get his. I think he's going to get his chance as a head coach out there.
And the FPI came out by ESPN, and it's so far off of every other power rankings list in the league. What the hell are they smoking?
That's the power index, right?
Yeah, the FPI, which is a power ranking. It's still a power ranking. No matter how you look at it, it's a power ranking. The Lions don't get in the top 10, but 2 4-loss teams did.
The hate for Will Harris is real.
Hey, Fred Peterson, you're not talking to anybody who thinks any different, because like I said, Will Harris has been burnt toast so bad he makes burnt toast look like Wonder Bread.
Oh, okay. If he wins a Super Bowl, his agent will start negotiating at 55 per. Mark that shit down. I agree with that. But how do you let your quarterback win? He's still young. He wins a Super Bowl. He brings your team not only to relevance, but his first championship in the Super Bowl era, and you would let him go?
Oh, sorry, A-Dub. I regress. It was 2010, but they made him one of the highest paid. What I'm saying is 2005 he was drafted.
Are you reading comments that aren't on the screen?
Darian West, A-Dub.
Yeah, he's reading comments that aren't on the screen, folks. Yep.
I read as they come up, just like I do on my show.
Well, you have to remember that no one else can see it but you.
Oh, you must have yours on full screen then, huh?
I do not.
Because they come up right there where it says comments if you get out of the private chat.
Oh, yeah. I see them there on the side, but
what he's talking about is I have not put the comment on the screen yet. So you're reading it in your privacy of your own home and reading a comment that nobody else is reading. That's what Mike is talking about.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So Lions talk with bad guy John Kapler. That's our boy, John Kapler. Over that 41, whatever, by $5. Right. Whatever that franchise tag is. If I'm Jared Goff's agent, I'm going to jump on that, I think, because they control it. They can always slap that tag on him and they say, this is all you're getting, period.
Right.
So why wouldn't you? And it'll be more than that, though, John. It'll be $1 million over, right? $1 million is nothing. That's peanuts over when you just offer $1 million over.
$1.50 over.
It's a bag of chips. I'm going to jump off, Russ. You got control of this? You got Jeremy B on the show. You're all set.
I do.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, guys. God bless you all.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm sorry I was out doing grocery shopping.
You're still on, Jeremy. It's just me that's leaving.
Right. No, I was saying thanks for having me because you are a part of this show.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
You're leaving.
Yes, I am. I'm going to go have a sandwich.
I was acknowledging that.
I'm going to go have a sandwich. See you later.
Yep.
All right. Let me get let's see. Let's go. So that's main event Mike right there. He is from NFC North Open Mic, which is our Monday night thing right here. Come and get some of the King of Sting. They haven't really wanted much of the King of Sting. So it's been kind of football talk. Monday nights at 7 p.m. You can come in and get your football talk on. We've kind of changed this up a little bit, Jeremy, because I was kind of called out by a couple of my buddies that are Lions fans, and I 100% am a Lions fan, and brought it to my attention that, I do all these shows and I do represent all the other teams and everything. He's like, but Russ, you don't do anything that's just Lions based, and you're a Lions fan. So that's what we're going to start dedicating Wednesday mornings to. This is all Lions every week. Hump Day. That's what we do.
There we go. I like it. It.
Every week, every Wednesday, we doing Lions. So we got Monday, we're doing the reviews. We're doing the reviews of all the teams that came and they played in the North. On Tuesdays, we're doing PFF dorky stats. Bring your nerd glasses, nerd alert. We're doing next generation stats, PFF, going over all the games. Wednesdays, we're going to be doing this Detroit Lions talk. So, you're more than welcome to come from the other fan bases. Please throw your troll comments in there. We're good, but we are going to talk all Lions. Thursday, we bring in GT from And We Know Sports, so we might even go outside the NFC North a little bit and maybe even talk some things that are outside. Last week, we talked about Jim Harbaugh, so who knows what we're going to do on Thursdays. Fridays, that's gambling, baby. We're going to give you all the over and unders. We're going to make our picks. We're going to maybe even give you some good prop bets that you can do from each one of the games in there, brought to you by Main Event Mike on there. So we have a full schedule in here. We might even get a Biting Kneecast with Jeremy B show here sooner or later. I don't know if you would ever be interested in something like that.
Oh, yeah, we could do a collab. That'd be no problem.
But yeah, I mean, we want to turn this into the network. So now that it was a 10,000 follower thing that we were trying to get to first, so we could have some influence to throw out there for all of our local podcasters that are in this area. But once we cross that threshold, man, if you own a podcast that are out there and you were interested in having a slot on during the day, we want to make videos. We would love to be able to go from like 11 to 4 p.m. So there's plenty of slots. Let us know. Let us know if you want to do that. John Kapler, you're in that talk too. So this is Football Talk with Russell Wayne. We get Jeremy B in here. I mean, constantly. We jump him, man. I'm not
2 to 3 times a week.
But I don't do as much of the inviting out there into that's just going to be kind of like the Monday night thing where we're going to let everybody else. So Jeremy B is one of the special people from the outside that is going to get one of these private invites in here. Make sure you check out Biting Kneecaps. He's got a YouTube page too. Why don't you go ahead and plug your show, and then I'm going to get out of here.
Kneecap biting with the Motor City Lions. Tonight is my NFC Roundtable Talks. That is or NFL Roundtable Talks. That's where I go over the 3 hottest news in the league, and also the weekly pick'ems. I do it on Wednesday because I like doing it prior to the Thursday night game. It makes your weekly pick'ems look a little more valid then, instead of writing it down going, oh yeah, I picked the winner.
So you're doing the pickets too. So just remember that you join us 5 days a week right here. We're talking football. 11 a.m. is where it's gonna be starting every single day. And let me get this other one. It's harder to do this with just my phone here. There's another one right there. The QR code right there. That QR code will take you right to our YouTube page. Please subscribe. Like if you're watching the video right now, just hit the like button on that video because that helps us. It's free. And if you're a football fan, which you have to be if you're watching me right now or watching the screen, so just hit that like button. We definitely appreciate that. And join us. Let me find this other one in here. I'm going to say the blessing over your life, and then I'm going to let you go right there. If you're listening, May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. And may the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again, which will be tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. God bless.